So if you saw someone who you knew had passed away come back to life tomorrow, what would you do to change your life? Today we hear the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. On the surface, it seems like this story is telling us that if we live a comfortable life, if we live a life like many of us here in Clifton Park or Half Moon, or really almost anywhere in the capital region, if we live like that while we're here on earth, we may be in some trouble when we get to the next life, the life that will last for all eternity. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized Jesus never taught that way. Jesus never threatened our salvation. In fact, he taught us that God loves us and will do anything for us. Remember, he gave his only Son to die for us. So that being the case, I'm reasonably sure that neither God nor Jesus would want us to read this story as a doomsday lesson for anyone who lives a comfortable life. So what then is the point of today's story? Well, I think there are a couple points to consider. Surely Lazarus was tormented during his life here on earth. But does that mean he got a free pass to heaven? Maybe. But I think Lazarus, like each of us, probably committed some sins in his life. And so, if it wasn't his life that brought him salvation, what was it? It was God's gift. It was the gift that God offers to each and every one of us, that we all may rest in the bosom of Abraham. And we just need to remember that we don't earn salvation. It is truly a gift from God. And on the other side, we have the story of the rich man who lived comfortably, yes, and he was condemned to an eternity of torment. Why did he not receive the gift of salvation? I mean, there's nothing in the passage to suggest that the rich man or any of his 5 brothers weren't decent people. There's nothing to suggest that they didn't do some good things for the community. So why then did he end up on the other side of the chasm? Well, after reading and rereading this parable, it struck me that the answer to that question really comes at the end of the parable, when the rich man asks Abraham to send Lazarus to his 5 brothers so that they may not suffer the same torment as the rich man. Remember how Abraham responded? He said, "They have Moses and the prophets. Let them listen to them." In other words, they should already know what to do in their life here on earth. They shouldn't need to change their lives if they're already following Moses and the prophets. And so I think that's really what Jesus is telling us today. Just as Abraham was saying to the rich man, we all know how to live and what we've been taught. We know the model that Jesus gave us, but now we need to ask ourselves, do we follow that model to the best of our ability? Or have we tucked the lessons that we learned away for safekeeping? Have we put them someplace safe to be pulled out when we think we need to use them? So as you leave here today, I ask that you take a few quiet minutes, think about your life, then ask yourself 2 simple questions. First, are there places in my life where I live like the rich man? Are there times when I don't pay attention to those in need nearby? And second, being that I do know how to treat those who have less than I do I ignore them in my excess?